Wait, hold up. We've done this before. Let's try something new. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Welcome to Rage Against the Mainstream, your full spectrum source for all things music, insight, and opinion. Today's date is February 8th, 2021. My name is Bill, and I'm joined here today with Steve and special guest co-host. You might recognize this fellow from Basement Box Office, Will. How you guys doing today?
Great.
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me on today.
Oh, no problem. So, obviously, if you guys are fans of either show or have heard any of the previous collaborations we have done before, then you know we're about to do a topic that, goes through music and movies. But we're not going to get to that just yet. Have you guys encountered anything new or interesting in the past week?
So, Bill, and we got Will into understand a bit of it. A band that we're very fond of, and they do some shit that pisses us off, Lamb of God.
Yeah.
I got a message on Instagram from a friend who's a huge Lamb of God fan. Yo, Lamb of God dropped a new song. Check it out. And I'm confused because they just came out with an album last year. So the only thing I could have in mind, re-release.
Yep.
Only thing. Unless a single album, which doesn't really strike me as a Lamb of God thing.
Yeah, that's not what they do.
And there it is. Self-titled deluxe version coming out soon. B-side of live tracks as well as 2 new tracks, one of which that was released with a, just basic video with the
Wait, didn't
cover.
you buy deluxe version?
Yeah, when Lamb of God released their self-title, they had several options for the vinyl purchase. One of them
specific. Didn't you not listen to it until you got the deluxe version?
I waited to get that vinyl of the deluxe version that's apparently not as deluxe as the deluxe. I got a diet deluxe. All right?
You got the Mountain Shouting alternative.
I got the Mountain Shouting alternative from Lamb of God, and I can't fucking believe it. So the new song is what? Ghost Walking People?
Or Ghost Shaped People.
Ghost Shaped People.
Ghost Shaped People.
Yeah, sorry. Whatever. Anyway, the song, and Bill, we both can kind of come to the agreement that Lamb of God is turning this corner to a very commercialized, softish, As I Lay Dying-ish.
They're starting to become one with their core section of them. Like Lamb of God's always had this definitive thing, where it was it was metalcore, sort of. It was all right. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. Lamb of God's been metalcore for a very long time, but the core aspect has been drowned out by the metal version. of it.
Sacrament was the turning point,
exactly,
and ever since
it's
been there.
This song, in my opinion, is they kind of just could fully embrace the core aspect of it. And you brought up a good point with Art Cruz. Like, he could have been the deciding factor on that, or, the inspiration behind doing it, because we all know the band that he was in prior to Lamb of God.
And we talked, too, there's a sound and a feel that you get from music, and we put it in perfect parallel where we played the new song and played 512, which is right off the release prior to the self-title. Two different drummers. 2 different styles, because you immediately get 2 different vibes.
Exactly.
Ghost Shaped People makes me want to go out and protest the legalization of marijuana. It has a very uplifting and then 512 makes me feel like I'm hiding a body.
Listening to Ghost Shaped
There's just 2 different
Listening to
vibes.
Ghost Shaped People makes me want to go shop at Hot Topic.
Well, I'm telling you.
It makes me want to go get every deal I can on Amazon Day at Whole Foods.
I'm telling you, man, I don't listen to this music, but this sounds like exciting stuff to me.
Oh yeah.
I'm just saying.
This is the goal. With Will being on this show, every opportunity I look to be able to expand. It's the acquired taste. You know what I mean? You start with Johnny Black, and eventually you appreciate Johnny Blue. That's the progression.
So, since you heard both songs, or snippets of both songs, and being an outsider looking in, what are you able to distinguish between the 2 songs? You could hear a difference between the 2, right?
Yeah, I could hear the difference between the two. And I mean, honestly, the music, I mean, granted, it's no secret, I'm not a huge fan of Lamb of God. Whatever, it is what it is. But listening to the songs, like, it's not, I like the music. I like, the drums, the beat. I love it
the
all.
Instrumentals.
I don't like the screaming shit. Like, I
That's
can't understand.
usually, that's a very,
he's fucking, like, in the toilet, like, vomiting. That's what it sounds like to me. Like,
Yeah.
And I want to enjoy it. I really do, because I love to give, like movies, I like to give music a chance. Like, I listen to everything.
Yeah.
But I just can't get behind some of the screaming stuff. But,
and then, no, that's totally understandable, because that is the fine line with people. Yeah. Like, there's certain music where some people just have, I mean, it's like singing talents and guitar talents. Like, some people have it, some people don't. And like ear talents with being able to listen to certain stuff, it's not going to appeal to everybody.
Right.
And that's totally the thing with metal of its, core. Like, at the root cause is a lot of metal has gone to how extreme can we be?
Yeah, exactly. But the problem, well, like, that's the thing. And Will was able to determine that there was a
you can hear
clear difference between the two songs.
Yeah.
And we're not going to sit here and bash on Will's music taste by any means, but he enjoed the
Spice Girls.
No, shut up. He enjoys the Spice Girls.
You should just like put an explicit like beep on that, like like he said something so fucking profound that he couldn't even like say it on the airwaves.
He the thing is, I'm not going to sit here and bash on his music taste, but for the type of music that Will listens to, he enjoyed Ghost Shaped People more than he enjoyed 512, and I was able to determine that by things that he had said and context clues. He enjoyed that more. So as someone that's not a metalhead or a metal fan, this song appeals to someone that is more inclined in the commercial aspect of music. And
so we're using Will as the scientific study.
Yeah. So you're on the opposite end of the spectrum.
Yes.
I'm probably in the middle of the two. Yeah, I'm in the middle of the spectrum.
Yeah, I'm
Will's on the other side.
I'm the extremist. You're like the independent. Will's more of the liberal in the sense of what we're looking for in terms of the core qualities of Lamb of God.
Exactly. Yeah. So the fact...
Like, I stayed absolutely flaccid through Ghost Shaped People, and Will called a quarter chub. So we know in context that one song is more arousing to certain tastes as opposed to other, right? That could be a scientific study.
Yeah, I think so.
The size of your boner determines how much you like Lamb of God.
I think we were good with what you said the first time.
But, yeah, I mean, the fact that this song was able to appeal to somebody that isn't, more of a commercial taste in music as opposed to someone or, the metal community that isn't as, understanding of it.
Bottom line, it's just
they're moving into that.
Yeah, and I'm willing to go on a limb and say Art Cruz kind of has that sense of influence where they're able to branch out more to that, because you figure Chris Adler left over what they consider creative differences.
Yes.
So the fact that this is the sound that they're heading into and what they were able to produce with Chris Adler, you can tell that there's just a level of influence that the band probably was trying to head towards, and Art Cruz fit that mold.
Exactly.
That's my...
But speaking of new music, coming out April 16th.
Another one of Will's favorite bands.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. This is another one. Cannibal Corpse released a new song called Inhumane Harvest. It's coming off of their album that's coming out in April called Violence Unimagined.
Wow. Very innovative here for Cannibal Corpse in their titling.
Yeah, exactly.
Really went all out on that one.
Well, this is the first thing they're releasing since the departure of Pat O'Brien, and if you listen to the show, you've heard us talk about this individual.
You can Google him
times.
Immediately,
yeah, you can find out what this is. He was replaced with Eric Rutan from Morbid Angel.
Yeah, he played with Morbid Angel for a bit. His biggest things, Hate Eternal, obviously. King of All Kings is a phenomenal album. Yeah. But the one thing I knew that he did that really drove me to appreciate the instrumental work from Eric on this album, Ripping Corpse in the 90s. Great thrash, death thrash band. That real 90s old school aesthetic. Ripping Corpse had an album called Dreaming with the Dead, and it's an absolute essential classic. And he was, mastermind behind a lot of that. Mm-hmm. So him being with the band, because they did announce he's going to be a full-time member. He's not just a touring individual. Like Pat O'Brien's shit's probably got a long time before that ever becomes resolved.
Yeah.
3 skulls in your basement usually doesn't mean probation. But
I don't know. With the way our justice system works, it wouldn't.
Yeah, COVID. Well, this is on postponement. He's probably on house arrest, even though he probably murdered 3 people. That's welcome to the United States, folks. Anyway, like you said it, Bill, too, about the drumming.
Yeah, so another one, we're going to take what should we call this? Ask the public, where we ask Will, or ask the outsider.
Ask the general public.
Yeah, third-party perspective featuring Will.
Third-party perspective. So, you've heard the Inhumane Harvest, and we also showed you Evisceration Plague. We've showed you Death Walking Terror, and we have showed you Hammer Smashed Face. Are you able to have...
From the respective film, Ace Ventura.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So, were you able to find any differences between those 4 songs?
Not really, no.
That's what... Yeah.
No, I didn't really see much of a difference.
I hope that was the case, because I'm going to go as well. When I was younger, before I really... Because anything with music and movie related, you watch a movie the first time. There's a lot of shit you might not understand as a kid. You watch it when you're older and you get the jokes and you see the differences. And metal for me was the same way. First time I heard Cannibal Corpse, the first song I ever heard was Hammer Smash Face because of Ace Ventura. That drove me to what the fuck is this? Then my friends were listening to it. Then I went and listened to Skull Full of Maggots off the first album. Another great title by Cannibal Corpse. Very innovative for these guys. But again, to me, initially, you could have played them all back to back to back to back, and I couldn't tell you when the song changed.
Exactly.
You know? That's how it was for me. But again, same thing with film. It took a long time for me to really digest that.
Yeah.
And Cannibal Corpse to me has become the comfort food of death metal. It's just the same. It's redundant.
I can see that, yeah.
It's like Motorhead. You're going to get the same shit every time.
Exactly. Now, my main gripe with this is, just like you said, you're going to get the same thing every time.
Yeah.
I think for a band of the status and caliber of Cannibal Corpse, I'm not saying they're the greatest death metal band ever. Everyone knows it. They're not amazing. They are who they are.
Yes.
And I feel like as a band that has been together for so long and is constantly trying to break new ground, I feel like the drums should be way better than what they are.
He's an old man. It's tired.
But we've listened to Evisceration Plague and Death Walking Terror. Those drums sounded exactly the same.
Oh, yeah.
And then we listened to Inhumane Harvest, and it was exactly the same to that. And it's just I'm not going to sit here and start bashing on Cannibal Corpse because, I have a very soft spot for them. They were it's weird to say, but they were my introduction into death metal and all this other shit. So I can't really sit there and bash on them that much. However, it's just it's like the Lars Ulrich.
I was going to say
the Lars Ulrich fucking paradox.
We can call it the Lou, the Lue, the Lars Ulrich effect.
The Lars Ulrich effect.
It's the Lou. He's a victim of the Lou.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's just one of those things where he's good enough to where it works, and they don't need to go any further than that. However, if you check out any of these other bands, imagine how different Cannibal Corpse would be if they had Gene Hoglan.
Okay, so
it'd be fucking nasty.
You have to understand,
Dave Lombardo joined Metallica.
Paul the drummer.
Yeah,
his last name I don't even gonna try to.
Yeah, it's Berserkowitz or something.
But Paul has been in the band forever.
I believe he's the original member.
He's been there
Alex Webster.
That's what I'm saying. He's been there forever. So for him, I mean, if you go and listen to Tomb of the Mutilated, Butchered at Birth, Eaten Back to Life, even. I mean, he was very at that time. That was atypical, innovative death metal because of how the roots started and where bands were going, Morbid Angel and Deicide. But yeah, as the years go on, that capability
should be evolving.
And if you don't, you fall into the loo. Because again, Chris Adler constantly trying to outdo himself.
Yep.
And now you get to see with Paul, it's just I feel like everything's recorded first and then the drums are there to fill the gaps.
Just do it.
Yeah.
Do what you normally do.
When you have a bass line that's just matching the rhythm section as opposed to adding fills and trying to be innovative. But again, it's that type of drumming. I'm not personally able to do anything close or remotely like that. But I think
with a couple weeks of practice, I think you could probably.
Yeah, that's why the more I listen to it, I'm starting to
I know that I'm almost capable of doing it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not an amazing drummer by any means, but I think I'm capable of playing at least one or two Cannibal Corpse songs.
Yeah.
Shit, I
absolutely. That's going to be the long-term goal here. We're going to train and see if we can outdo Paul. And then
this could be an experiment. We can get Will trained to be the replacement.
We need to get Will to be like the guy when you like get, you know, hip hop artists listening to like Tool, or you get like, you know, Geezer Butler to listen to Lil Uzi Vert.
If you're going to say we need to get Gil to start, Gil. We need to get Will to start liking this music.
No, get him to listen to it. Just like reviews by Will from obscure music. You listen to a song and you just...
I can just make a review of it?
Yeah.
This is some crazy ass shit. Let me just give you the review of what I think.
I was not a fan of the lyrical content due to George saying that he would fuck a woman with a knife.
We could shoot it like Beavis and Butthead, the whole like gag on the couch, watch music videos.
Yeah.
Like, it was funny. I was cruising through YouTube like I normally do, and I came across Beavis and Butthead watching Death's the Philosophizer.
The Philosopher.
Yeah, Philosophizer. Duh. The Philosopher. And like it was just so funny because they were ripping on Chuck, and like Beavis was like he's like, it sounds like the guy at whatever fucking burger joint they were talking about. And he's like, I was a fries with cheese. And it's like the funniest fucking shit ever.
Just get poetry moments with poetry with Will, and he just reads the lyrics from Cannibal Corpse songs very soothingly.
That sounds like fun.
So
Cannibal Corner. We'll call it.
Cannibal Corner.
The Cannibal Corner with William. Like a real soothing moment. Put like really ambient music.
Yes.
Like bells and ASMR shit.
That sounds like fun.
And he just calmly reads
That could be
Cannibal
another
Corpse
podcast right there.
So to bring you into the new and interesting.
Oh, yes.
Because we went off like a major tangent.
Still here.
Yes. The banter
okay.
when we get on a fucking
gotta,
metal tear.
I know your episodes are a lot longer than ours, you know? You guys
true.
talk a lot, you know? Driving around a lot, I just kind of cruise through some music on YouTube. I like to watch music videos. Not while I'm driving, you know, when I'm at like red lights and stuff.
Sure.
Yeah.
But anyway, I kind of been digging in a lot more with from the 80s, actually, like Hall & Oates and REO Speedwagon. Just kind of cruising through their different songs and such. I like to listen to different things, you know.
I think the rediscovery of that music is always awesome.
Exactly.
I do that all the time because, like, growing up as a kid, dad's always having 102.9 on or whatever the local rock station is. You know, but some of the songs, like, as I got older, and I'm like, oh, I like Fleetwood Mac, and then I would listen to their content, and I would be like, wow, there's like 4 or 5 songs in there that I remember as a kid. Yeah. Never knew who it was.
Yeah, you forget all about it.
Yeah, I love doing that.
Going back to the 80s rediscovery thing, you know what I think is like a major catalyst for this?
What?
The Weeknd with Blinding Lights. Because this fucking dude showed up one night, he's like, I heard this song. It's amazing.
I brought it up a couple episodes ago.
I don't think you're going to like it. And he played it for me. I was like, I fucking love this song.
I brought it up a couple episodes ago. Dude, that song is just...
amazing.
It's a fucking hit.
It's a masterpiece. It really is.
Yeah. And that's the thing. With overplayed music, then people try to use it to an attitude where they won't like it almost in spite.
Yep.
But me personally, I have a playlist that I listen to. It's like 47 songs or some random number for a drive down the turnpike.
Yeah.
Blinding Lights and The Hills are both on there.
Nice.
Because like The Weeknd is just a very... When we talk about like Rob Zombie, a unique artist, fucking The Weeknd is perfect for pop culture, but he's not, you know, putting out shit like, you know, just redundant bullshit and like, let me talk about how big my dick is in my bank account. Like, come on, man.
WAP.
Yeah. WAP. Oh, God. No, we're not going back to that.
Yada, yada, yada,
yeah,
yada,
yada. Yeah, dude. Imagine that fucking lyric sheet, dude. Holy fuck.
Anywho, so that's kind of what, you know, my previous week really has been about, just digging into some old music. I don't really listen to the radio so much anymore. I kind of just cruise around with music I have or, you know, YouTube stuff.
Same thing.
Suggestions.
Same thing.
Just I feel like the radio, like you mentioned, like it's the same music over and over again. And while there's good songs, like, you know, The Weeknd's music, but like I don't want to hear it once every fucking 63 minutes.
Of course.
You know, it's like, the same 11 songs. Like, I kind of want to get into something else.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, that's the benefits with streaming and the capability and Bluetooth and everything.
There's always other aspects. And like I said, you know, they may recommend Hall & Oates, and then I'll go in and I'll just look up Hall & Oates and all these different songs that just, you know, brings back.
I do the same because you mentioned music videos, and I'm hoping one day we should do an episode on that because I just thought about how music videos when we were growing up were like very... you know, in depth. They were fun to watch. And they were just like, they gave you the
so planned out.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, look at fucking Thriller for Michael Jackson.
Absolutely.
How long that fucking music video is and how planned out that was.
Legitimate movie.
Yeah. Awesome. And then I do the same thing. Like, I'll remember music videos that I saw so many times that made me love the song. And I'll just go look up because it's going to be there. Like, top songs of 2010.
Yeah.
And like I'll just, as soon as I see the artist or a picture of the video that I remember, then I'm able to rediscover the song and kind of like put myself back in that time. simpler
exactly.
And then it's funny because like you mentioned like music videos and stuff. And the first thing I think of is like when me and Bill the one time, not to bash on everybody's different, but like what was it, Tech 6ix9ine? What's the hell?
Tekashi
6ix9ine.
Tekashi, whatever the fuck his name is. Like his music video with Nicki Minaj, just complete fucking dumpster
Best friend
garbage.
or I forget.
And
what
it's like
called.
this is the music videos we're making nowadays.
Well, it's the same thing with like Kanye West went down that road. Migos and Gucci Mane and all them. So, like their videos became very flashy, and that was already a thing. Like P. Diddy, everything that they try to do to kind of emphasize. But you always had realism in like the late 90s, early 2000s, the music videos. I don't know if you remember the Soul Survivor video with Young Jeezy and Akon.
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah.
Like, it was awesome.
Remember Jesus Walks?
Yeah.
That video?
Dude, watching this shit on TRL all the time. Every day I'd be fucking looking forward to that shit.
I'm as white as fucking white bread, but when I saw In the Club with 50 Cent, I wanted to wear a wave cap. Like, he just made, like, the videos back then were just, like, they made you feel something.
Usher's Yeah video?
Oh, yeah.
Dude.
Oh, yeah. I remember,
Yeah.
But even just, like Newfound Glory, like, all those pop punk bands back then, like, they made, even Sugar We're Going Down, Fall Out Boy. I mean, there were so many songs back then that are, the guilty pleasures and songs that people will rip on you because it's popular.
Behind it, dude.
Oh yeah, it was
and
planned
honestly,
out.
this goes back to something that me and you have been talking about for a long time. It's almost been like a common thread throughout this whole podcast. Really, is like the de-evolution or the devolving or de-evolution.
Corporations are crushing cult classics. I mean, just the ability for fans to make the music as opposed to
I kind
the
of almost feel like you
corporations.
should put like a pin in this, and we should make this another episode.
Like the dumber it is, the better it is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's why I said before I brought that, I was like, I hope one day we can do an episode on
I just
this.
feel like that because literally we can go on around and around and go here.
So to end the banter, because we totally spiraled.
Yeah.
It's no big deal though.
Well, you guys
but
do it
one
all the time,
day,
but-
this is welcome
This
to
is
Rage Against the
normality,
Mainstream.
yeah.
music video issues coming soon.
Yes.
Coming soon to a podcast near you.
On this day in music history.
On this day, February 8th, 1964, with Louie Louie by the Kingsmen under FBI investigation for obscene lyrics for Louie Louie. The song's publisher offers $1,000 to anyone who can definitively distinguish the dirty words.
I believe that they thought this was code.
Yeah.
Wasn't Vietnam was happening in 64,
Yes.
right? Yeah, I think
And
they thought it was like a
69,
code.
around then. Yeah.
Yeah, they thought it was a code for like where our American military was, like in Vietnam, so they can get attacked or some shit, which I think is absolutely crazy, but whatever.
I mean, that's just goes to show you how deep with government conspiracy is with certain things that happen throughout pop culture, especially in the ties to the government. But it's interesting. 1964, we're complaining about Louie Louie. 2021, we still have WAP on the airwaves.
Right.
I'm going to bring that song up every chance I get when I hear
please do.
discrepancies from 60s or 70s, 80s. Like the shit that was like harsh back then. Nowadays.
Our wives are like, that song isn't that big of a deal.
Yeah, it is so crazy. We talked to them about that, how they're all like, oh, well, you guys can talk about your dicks and stuff. Like, it's not, we're not talking about
Nobody
that.
does that.
Like, where's the vulgarity? Like, this is just a complete vulgarity of a song.
But that's the thing.
I've never heard a song like
the
this.
evolution of WAP is due in part to the evolution of hip hop and the way men especially discussed what their lyrical content was about was like fucking women, and obviously that produced the idea that women should be able to do this too. That's great, but both are wrong. That is an absolute two wrongs don't make a right situation.
Exactly.
That shit was already damned before, because what happened to like true hip hop? Gone.
Yeah, so it's like almost like it's okay. So if we had a daughter right now, you would
I'm
want her
saying.
walking around talking about her wet ass pussy.
WAP.
Or how about you're in my rock hard cock? If we had a song that was called Rock Hard Cock, you wouldn't be upset with your son walking around saying rock hard cock.
Like basically, I want my
know?
daughter to be a slut or my son to be a rapist. I mean, this is so fucking ridiculous.
Think about it.
But yeah, and the thing about that is we have to understand because, music, whether you accept it or not, will influence personality.
Exactly.
Between social settings like school and your household, music will always find a way to incorporate the way you dress, the way you talk, the way you act. People look up to these individuals, and you have someone like a Cardi B figure who is kind of like that, almost supportive for like women's rights and like giving women a voice and being able to feel like they're in control. I don't need my 5-year-old niece jamming a fucking WAP. I'm telling you that right now. That's the scary thought about it.
They just want your 5-year-old niece to know that she can control her wet ass pussy.
Yeah,
basically.
That's
so I don't mean to keep saying it, but like you got to say, spell it how it is.
Yeah, it is.
And we listen to Cannibal Corpse, as we've mentioned, so we're all for obscenities.
Exactly. You go all over the place here.
As I forgot to mention earlier, the track listing for the new Cannibal Corpse album:
oh, thank you.
Murderous Rampage,
We don't need. You gotta
Necrogenic,
hold on. Featured on Cannibal Corpse's violence, unimagined track listing, murderous rampage, necrogenic resurrection, inhumane harvest, condemnation, contagion, surround, kill, devour, ritual annihilation, follow the blood, bound and burned, slowly sawn, over torture, and cerements of the flayed. Brought to you by Rage Against the Mainstream.
I like that little touch. Cannibal Corner is definitely going to work out.
Yeah, we got to do that. Because, dude, I can print you out any lyric sheet to read off a Cannibal Corpse, and you can make it as fucked up as
Here's
possible.
your Cannibal Corner for the week.
My name is Will, and welcome to Cannibal
to our
Corner.
field correspondent, Will.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hey guys, I'm over here.
Yeah, have you like talk? Hey, in the corner.
I'm over here in the corner. The microphone doesn't reach this far, but
Yeah, we totally stretch that.
So moving on here to 1971.
Jesus Christ.
On a total opposite end of the spectrum, you got Bob Dylan's documentary Eat the Document, chronicling his 1966 tour of the UK, premieres at the New York Academy of Music. The ABC television network will buy the rights to the film, although they refuse to air it after deciding it doesn't contain enough concert footage.
Irrelevant. Man doesn't even know his own music anymore.
Yeah, fuck it.
1989, Anthrax earned their first gold album when their fourth album, State of Euphoria, arguably my personal favorite, is certified for sales of 500,000 copies. It's just that is such a great album. Antisocial, when they play that live, it's just so
You're antisocial. Like, yeah,
so
it's
good.
awesome.
Total thrash.
Love Anthrax. Yes. 2003, the Fox lesbian duo TATU hits number 1 in the UK with All the Things She Said, becoming the only Russian act ever to top the chart.
Honestly, not familiar.
Me
If anybody is familiar and would like to make comment, hit us up on our social media. 1 year later, in 2004, at the Grammy Awards, Outkast is the first hip-hop act to win Album of the Year for Speakerboxxx, Love Below. Phenomenal fucking album, by the way. I remember buying that for that Christmas year when I was, not even a teenager. Great fucking album. Evanescence takes Best New Artist, beating out 50 Cent, who comes on stage anyway, pulling a full Kanye in 2004.
Honestly, 50 Cent should have beaten out Evanescence for that. I mean, Evanescence is all right, I guess, but as far as a best new artist, 50 Cent. I mean, like if we're talking
in
longevity
04,
too,
yeah, in 04 he was.
Well, this just shows you the turning, or honestly, this would probably be the turning of the times, because when was the last time a rock act was best new artist?
It's true.
We're gonna have to fucking. What are we gonna call this? A retrospective of the Grammys?
Yeah, we could do that with the Oscars too. Like
Yeah.
The Exorcist being the first horror film, even though The Shining should have been nominated.
Exactly.
All different circumstances with the Oscars. Another rip at corporations like Rolling Stone. Fuck you with your awards. What do you know?
But yeah, it's fucked up. Last here is in 2009. Chris Brown and his Rihanna. His
Rihanna girlfriend.
2009.
Is that a noun now? Like a straight adjective?
Last thing here in music history is 2009. Chris Brown and his girlfriend Rihanna missed the Grammy Awards where they were scheduled to perform after he assaults her.
Yeah, gotta add that in there.
Like,
It's funny. I was reading that with you.
A puppy
yeah, that after he assaults her part is like late. So when they said they missed the Grammy Awards, my first thing I was going to chime in is like probably because she was beat the fuck up or something. And then it's like actually written in there, so it's totally relevant to.
So 5 years later, after Evanescence took the Best New Artist,
then we have total masochistic attitudes and
Chris
hip-hop
Brown lays
artists
the proverbial hammer down.
Proverbial hammer. And it's crazy. That's like the idea, just because he still has a career.
Yeah.
That's what's crazy. You see football players do some shit like this, done. They are fucking
They're
done.
gone.
Actually, this is kind of like one of the first times that we're actually recording coinciding with something that's happening in the music industry right now. Like usually when something fucked up happens, we've already recorded or we have to wait a week and we're always late. Marilyn Manson is fucking 100% in cancel culture right now. He's
100%.
fucked.
He's done.
His career is over.
Yes.
He's been dropped by record labels. He's been fucking everyone. Trent Reznor's been on there. Wes Borland's been on there. Every fucking person that he's had in contact or has been in contact with came out and just said this dude's the biggest piece of shit like ever.
Finally broke out. Which is crazy because, again, the comment section on anything you see posted about it is exactly how I feel about it, too, which is I'm not fucking surprised. Like, I was fucking 10 years old when I heard the rumor that he pulled out part of his ribcage to suck his own dick. Why would I be so surprised?
Like, honest to God, dude, I
committing
thought
sexual assault.
I thought it was, I don't know, like I thought it was like a facade or like I thought it might have been just like a play.
Well, it's like a Pat O'Brien situation.
Yeah,
Dude's
there's
living
no way
his
this is
fucking
real.
persona.
There's no way this guy's like this.
Yes.
Turns out he is.
But here's the thing about that. Again, I agree with that. Because someone like Chris Brown, the fact that he still has an extremely successful career, you're enabling that idea.
Yes.
Whether it be mistake or not, you do that at any 9-to-5 job, you're done. And that's going to go on some sort of background when anybody goes to do a valid check on you from your previous employer. That if you fucking hit an employee of any race, any sex,
Smoke.
you're done. But no, Chris Brown's still out there fucking hooking up with any DJ he can, making fucking hit music.
Exactly.
That's how fucked up the industry is.
Since Will is here, I figure
Yes,
now.
hi guys. I'm still here.
I figure now is a better time than ever. I mean, I say this every time someone else comes on the show, but I feel like now is more of a better time than ever before to kind of kind of bring in both podcasts together again. Almost like, when Nick Fury has to call the Avengers.
Yeah.
This is like almost like the same situation.
Can I be Thor?
I always thought of you more of like a Black Widow type, personally.
Oh, wow. That's real. You think real highly of me. At least I'm dead,
And apparently I'm an elitist, so I should be Iron Man, of course.
Oh, yeah,
That
sure.
could work.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you could be fucking
I'd have
Iron
to
Man.
be
I could
this.
be the girl, whatever. It is what it is.
I'm Nick Fury. I'm the brains
Of course,
behind this
yeah,
operation.
Yeah, Nick Fury's very important.
No, you're Phil Coulson. That's who you are.
Oh, yeah. There you go. Thanks.
Or
So anyway, like you were saying, why don't we go ahead and roll into the introduction for the topic?
the topic for today is to seamlessly blend these two podcasts together is actors that have had or currently have music careers or aspirations in music. Now, we've never really kind of talked about this topic before, but as you start getting down, into the lists, you have very, very fucking like
It's very extensive.
prominent figures.
And some that you wouldn't even
Wouldn't
think
have guessed.
that had a music career.
Exactly. I guess to kind of go through this here, I just have a list of names. I'm pretty sure you guys just have a list of
Yeah,
names.
Will's
as well.
got a good compilation of artists that I didn't even fucking know did music, which is
Exactly.
interesting. But it's also, there's two ways to look at this. Musicians that winded up progressing into film and actors that winded up progressing through to music. So it is an interesting concept to see how some of these artists went different directions and were able to establish.
Or also, I mean, I guess I wouldn't say it's like a third, but another direction too. Like, for instance, one of the people I have is Hugh Jackman, and he's not a singer on the side per se, but when he did the Greatest Showman soundtrack, he sang.
Yeah.
You're watching the movie, oh wow, X-Men,
Yeah.
Wolverine can sing.
Very relatable
what
to
the-
what
yeah.
Bradley Cooper did.
Yeah,
with
exactly.
Stars and
They're not
I was
on
not
the side
expecting
doing one or
that.
the other, but
Yes.
it's just they just did it, and here we are. Some of the people on the list that I have, I look through, they had to take lessons for these films,
Yeah.
to sing, in the
Well,
movies and such.
Probably one of the most extreme examples of being involved with music and then progressing into acting would have to be Mark Wahlberg.
Right.
Marky Mark and the
yeah,
Funky Bunch,
yeah.
dude. And then all of a sudden,
I would say that's the most notorious story of someone who is so successful as an actor, but still
It's
has a
sickening.
very recognized music career. Because he
yeah.
is almost like the Flash Gordon of music. People know it, but you're never driving in the car. Will, you're never driving the car with your Spotify app, hey Siri, play Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch. That just doesn't happen.
Play Good Vibrations.
But you know it.
Feel the vibrations. Feel it.
I mean, I was just listening to 80s music the other day, so I mean, don't get me wrong.
I mean, then you also have his brother, too, Donnie Wahlberg.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, he's nowhere near the success of Mark in acting by any means.
Yeah.
No.
But he was in a way more successful music act, New Kids on the Block.
Yes.
I mean, it's kind of funny that you have this, like almost this, like, family, like a dynasty, I guess you would be able to call it.
Yeah.
Like a family dynasty of the Wahlbergs, and then you have little fucking Paul. Is that his name? And he just makes cheeseburgers.
That's like in football. You got like Peyton Manning and Eli Manning, both Super Bowl champions, and then they have like another brother who's like an accountant.
Oh, God,
and even their dad, Archie Manning,
exist.
was a professional football. Like, so you got 3 of the 4 men of the family. One of them's like doing refinancing homes or something.
You also have like the Jonas Brothers. There's a 4th Jonas brother.
Yeah, it's so.
Yeah.
He's just not involved.
God, it's
actually
tough.
I do want to say this now. We're not going to be getting into Disney artists like Hannah Montana.
we're well aware of how that shit
the Jonas
goes.
Brothers or Zac Efron,
yeah.
or Vanessa Hudgens or
like any of those people.
Selena
Like,
Gomez.
you can go on forever.
We're not talking about them.
We're not going to go on Disney artists, but just let us name a bunch right now.
There you go.
These are the ones we are not bringing up.
Yes. There you go. We brought them up. It's over.
Here are our Disney artists.
So, speaking of Disney, one that got their start with Disney, Justin Timberlake, part of the Mickey Mouse Club.
I thought you said we weren't talking about Disney.
Yeah, but this is different.
Oh, this is a different part of Disney. Okay.
Yeah. Justin Timberlake started on the Mickey Mouse Club along with Britney Spears, but she's not involved with this topic at all. But Justin Timberlake...
Well, she did a movie too, though. You know?
Did she? What movie?
Yeah, it was... what the hell is that movie called? Crossroads? Crossroads,
you're right.
She starred in that movie. I don't know if she did any other ones. I just know that one.
I think it was just Crossroads.
Yeah, but anyway, Justin Timberlake obviously has a huge movie career compared to her. So fuck
Justin Timberlake then obviously goes on to be in one of the most successful music acts of the 20th century, 21st century, NSYNC.
Yep.
And then as NSYNC dissolves and breaks up, you slowly start to see Justin Timberlake in films, and then next thing you know, he's like a fucking A-list actor.
Yeah, he's in a lot of films.
Like, honestly, you know what movie I love him in is Bad Teacher with
Cameron Diaz.
Cameron Diaz.
Yes.
I think
Movie's so fucking funny.
Good movie.
My favorite one's the one we just talked about a few weeks ago, In Time.
Yeah.
When he's in that film.
You know what else he was good in? Alpha Dog. Remember Alpha Dog?
Oh, yeah.
Where he was like the gang leader?
Yeah.
I haven't seen
And
that
then Social Network.
He's
really
done some
good in
very
Social
good
Network,
movies.
too.
Very good movies.
I mean, Trolls.
Yeah.
I mean, kids from movies, but I have a kid, so that's why I'm allowed to bring
voice
these things
actors.
up.
You're in that because
I'm allowed to be
my
in this.
nephews, I get sucked down the rabbit hole.
Yeah,
I just
dude.
watched Soul not too long ago.
Oh, dude, we talked about that a few weeks ago.
Talked about that.
Oh,
Soul
good.
was ridiculous.
Very, very good. And that was like made for totally adults and children.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, because my
Disney
nephew
does that a lot, though.
Yeah, but that was like probably the first real Pixar movie other than Toy Story 4 where I watched it and got the adult perspective immediately, as opposed to having to review it. And it was just a very interesting perspective because a lot of the movies I watched as a kid, I'm watching my 4-year-old nephew just laugh at the funny moments, like where the soul slaps the dude and like he's cracking up, and I'm like, yeah, that's very funny. But then you hear the dialogue and I'm cracking up, and then he's looking at me laughing and he has no clue why, and I'm like, this is
So,
great.
going off of Soul real quick, and we can actually talk about this because the main star, Jamie Foxx, has had movie and music careers.
Yeah.
It's weird that you
yes.
brought him up because he was going to be the one I brought up. I'm literally Googling him right
What
now.
do you feel like at the end of Soul? Like, do you feel like the spark or whatever they call it, that isn't what the spark, the way I interpreted it, was their like excitement or wanting to live.
Yeah.
Like, it was the fact that they were excited to live, not like this is what you
thought you were supposed to do. Yeah, and that's the thing. Everyone tries to go for the deeper meanings and the psychology behind these movies, but sometimes you just have to accept it for what it's worth.
All right, let's be careful
acceptable.
because I'm one of those people.
No, that's fine, and I do the same thing. But that movie particularly, like, it was enough to digest where you didn't need to go that far because it was giving you everything you needed. You saw him struggling with his jazz career, wanting this, wanting that, and the whole underlying context was he was offered this job as a teacher.
Yep.
But never really wanted that. He wanted to himself be something. The whole movie, he's teaching this soul. the whole movie. So he's literally doing everything that he got hired for within the first 3 minutes of the movie that never came to fruition. You never saw him work in a school.
Yeah.
You saw that brief moment with one of his students that showed up and he wasn't even a part of the context. But the whole movie, he's like training and teaching that soul and giving it direction.
Yep.
That was real, and like in turn helping himself. But yeah, I totally agree.
Amazing.
I think that's exactly what it was. And it was just very well written.
Such a good
Pixar
movie.
pulls on the fucking heartstrings too.
They do.
Like I'm sitting there like bubbling up. My parents are on their phone, so they're not in the moment. And I'm like, I can't have them see me like tearing up. They're gonna, what the fuck's your problem? I'm like, are you watching the movie? If you were watching what I was watching, you would be sad too.
I was there. I was there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't there with you, but like emotionally, I was there.
In spirit.
In
through our
spirit.
souls.
Right.
Great movie, though.
I'm sitting there, I'm like, fuck, man, is this really what happens when we die?
Yeah.
And then I'm looking at the bug zapper, I'm like, fuck.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is really what happens. I'd keep running down the escalator.
I mean, if you're speaking about like Pixar and Disney, like it makes me think of one of the people I chose was like Dwayne Johnson, like in Moana.
Yeah.
Like that was just surprising to me that he was even
You're
singing.
welcome.
Yeah.
You're welcome. And I'm sitting running around my house singing this "You're Welcome" song, like, and it's just like, wow, like I didn't think that he had like a voice that could work. For singing,
Throughout
per se.
his movie career, there has been instances of him singing. Like, I don't know if you remember The Game Plan, where he's a
I've
football
never seen
player
that.
and
Yeah.
has a daughter.
Of course.
Like, it's shown in that movie that at least in the movie, that he was like an avid Elvis fan.
Right.
And there was a couple scenes in that movie where he was playing guitar and singing Elvis.
Oh, okay. See, I've never seen that movie.
Yeah. Oh my God, dude, you gotta watch
Yeah,
The
you
Game
gotta watch
Plan.
that. It's a good
Game
one.
Plan's really good.
That's a good.
It's a
That was
Disney movie as
Is
well.
it like the Tooth
Yeah.
Fairy one? Is that the Tooth Fairy one?
It's not
It's
as
better than
It's
the-
not as goofy.
Is it called
yeah.
the Tooth Fairy? Am I thinking of a different movie?
Yeah,
Yeah, that
Tooth
is one.
Fairy.
Okay, yeah.
Then Vin Diesel also did one called The Pacifier, but he doesn't sing.
Pacifier, yeah.
But yeah, The Game Plan's a Disney movie as well, and it's really, really good.
Yeah.
You would really like it. It's
Okay.
a really, really good movie. But yeah, Dwayne Johnson, I mean, at this point, dude, we're talking about a fucking juggernaut. This dude is a wrestler. This dude's a fucking actor. This dude's voice actor. He's fucking singing. Like, it's just, what can't he do?
Yeah, he's like an advocate for physical health. I mean, he's just.
He really is the most electrifying man in all of showbiz.
He really is,
Yeah.
man. You want to talk about
He should run for
showmanship?
president, dude.
He was going to.
Yeah, if
He- he-
Schwarzenegger
well,
can
I mean, he
get governor
talked
role
about
in
it.
California, I could totally vote for The Rock for.
I would 100%
At this
vote
point
for
in
The Rock.
time, dude.
Hell yeah, dude.
Jesus Christ!
Why would you not?
This
I
guy
mean, that's-
can
I mean,
this guy can complete a full
Not- could you
sentence and
imagine?
not
Listen,
tweet
I'm
about
not
his-
even trying to say like picking sides for like Donald Trump or anything, but that's the reason why people went with Donald Trump, because they're like, you know what, I'm tired
wanted
of
someone
politicians.
real.
I want somebody
Yeah.
real. I want somebody different. I want somebody who's doesn't
But
have their hand in
could
the
you
pot.
imagine,
So, like,
like-
The Rock is the perfect opportunity.
Yeah,
for
but
that.
could you imagine this in this like fictitious like press conference? Like, it's just, can you smell what The Rock is cooking? He's just
And he
walking
says
down
that
the
right.
fucking aisle.
He says that right before he induces his new economic savings plan for the economy and during COVID.
Right.
And, but here's his music comes out. Yeah.
Like, what's your
This is-
question?
this
The
is-
Rock doesn't care what your question
This is the great thing, man, and it goes in hand with guys like Jon Stewart and Stephen Colbert. Like, you want those realist, individuals, and someone like The Rock. Guys,
yeah.
all these people are informed. That's no question.
Yeah.
But the way politics is so shaped, I mean, you get, because like, again, I don't like to expose my political views because I'm a very independent individual when it comes to terms of voting. I mean, you have someone like Joe Biden that struggles to complete a sentence, and you have somebody like Donald Trump that can't get off fucking Twitter until he's forced off of it.
Yeah.
So you have both sides of the spectrum where, people voted for Trump for that reason, but they got Jack Torrance from The Shining. Like, they didn't get him when he first got hired for the job. They got him after he totally lost his shit.
Yeah.
So it is interesting to know, like, someone like The Rock, when you talk about showmanship and the thing we think about him being art, music, film, industry.
Yeah.
He's just a fucking do-all, man. He really...
Yeah.
And he's just a respected guy. Like, I've never...
Absolutely.
You just can't... There's
I
nothing
feel
you
like
can
I'd
say
have a
to...
legitimate conversation with him.
Yeah, and he's very cool. Like,
I
some of
feel
the videos I see of him from personal, like where he was pulling up next to that bus of kids going to a baseball game.
Yeah.
And they could see him through his tinted windows because of light. And he rolled down his windows. He's like, yo, you guys going to have a good game? And he's like...
That's
Just
awesome.
total casual.
Like, honestly, I feel like if I got some stronger chairs in here and like he were to walk in here, he'd sit down and do a podcast with us.
Yeah, it needs stronger chairs, though.
Why would you say stronger chairs? So?
All Are you kidding me? It's the fucking Rock.
You smell what he's cooking? Is that what it is?
That name is not ironic, like a 6'2", 400-pound called Tiny. Like, he's The Rock. He looked like he was carved out of stone.
Pretty much. Like, he's the
not total.
You're welcome.
Yeah, not getting total fanboy on The Rock because it's not that deep.
Yeah,
but
this turned
he's
into like
just
a Rock episode here.
Dwayne, if you're listening, please contact us.
Some of this will be cut out because we totally
Box
just
Office
like
Podcast.
gargled on The Rock at this moment. But
Yeah.
speaking of those individuals, another
Gargling.
Yeah, speaking of gargling, and I hate to say because it's kind of in context, Dallas Buyers Club with Matthew McConaughey and another individual, Jared Leto. That movie, first of all, is a phenomenal film, awards, whatever. But Jared Leto is one of those individuals where it's very interesting because he had a successful, almost cultish, emo, like 90s pop punk type vibe following with 30 Seconds to Mars. And that's how I knew him.
Well, did you know that his movie career actually funded the music career?
Which is interesting because he was first exposed to me through 30 Seconds to Mars, but I didn't look that deep into the musicians behind a band at that age.
Yeah.
It wasn't until a movie came out and someone said, that's the singer from 30 Seconds. And then I went back and watched that video for, what's the fucking...
Kill.
Yeah, and I was like, oh shit, it's the same fucking guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he... I don't even know how to explain his movie career in terms of just...
I think the best movie he's ever done was American Psycho. That's because he takes the axe to the fucking...
Yeah, and like Dallas Buyers Club is phenomenal because his role in that is very controversial and it's a very well done movie with good historical context and up for debate. But you get to see the chops. Like that's the thing when we talk about these individuals, the ones that have the chops where you can respect them in movies as well as the music they've put out. And Jared Leto's like middle of the pack because he's never like really excited me. Like if Jared Leto was starring in Crazy Stupid Love with, Ryan Gosling, he's not an actor that comes to mind where I'm like, I need to see that movie.
Well, there is one movie, dude, that's coming out with him. And he's like the star.
With the Denzel Washington movie.
Yes.
It's coming on HBO Max.
Looks good.
The fucking name of it though. Yeah, it does look very good.
It looks fucking crazy.
But that's the thing about him. He's a guy that needs a supporting cast that makes me want to watch the movies. Because Matthew McConaughey is the show in Dallas Buyers Club.
Yes.
This movie we're talking about, forget the fucking name. Denzel Washington's really the driving force, and Jared Leto plays a great supporting role, which is great.
Yep.
American Psycho.
And
plays a great supporting role.
And like 30 Seconds to Mars, take him or leave him. The Kill was a good song when it came out,
Yeah, that's
everyone
what I mean.
Listened to it.
That's what I mean. He was successful in a right to be acceptable, but he's not, over the top exciting. Like for instance, Lady Gaga.
Yeah.
And Will, you're
Are you talking about the little things?
The little things. That's it.
The
Boom.
little things.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Will. But Lady Gaga's another one.
Yeah.
And Will, I know Stars Born.
Yeah.
You talk about Bradley Cooper.
Right.
I mean, just that type of acceptance where Lady Gaga was huge in music. And when A Star Is Born came out, I mean, you got to see her acting chops aside from what she did with American Horror Story, that one season Hotel.
Right, yeah.
Great.
Another one that we didn't mention, or even ones that we didn't even have written down, Cher.
Yes.
Right. The fucking queen.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. We all just kind of picked a couple people here and there. I mean,
yeah,
we
but
could go on
as we're talking about it, you're starting to think like Christina Aguilera.
Well, Will,
was, like,
I know you
Rouge.
have a list of the obscure individuals that you wouldn't even thought that had a music career.
Oh, yeah.
I know you have a list. So if you should rattle some names off.
You just want to throw like names out there,
ruffle. Just throw some names out there. Because when I looked at that list, I was like, whoa.
Seth MacFarlane.
I saw a video of him because I watch YouTube all the time, and I think I fell down the rabbit hole from watching Family Guy.
You always do.
And there was a video of Seth MacFarlane like performing at like an opera house or some shit like that, like a venue, and he was doing like the whole like crooner shit, and it was just like you hear this fucking guy's voice, and like you hear him on Family Guy like on the occasional moments or whatever, and it's like, this dude can pull off a fucking Sinatra.
Yeah.
And then you find out the dude's got a fucking album of Sinatra covers, and it's like, what the fuck? Like, where did I like miss this?
Yeah.
But yeah, check it out on YouTube, Seth MacFarlane.
Some more names on here. Kristen Bell. Doesn't really sound surprising.
Oh yeah, Kristen
Hugh Jackman
Bell with
go ahead.
Frozen and shit like that.
Yeah.
Hugh Jackman, which I already mentioned, for actually he was in Les Miserables and The Greatest Showman.
Yes.
We had those two. Another person I had on here, let me find it. Scarlett Johansson apparently has.
What did she do?
See, that was one that stuck out. That one and Bruce Willis were the ones where I was like, what?
Let's see. She says, from 2008 to 2009, Johansson released a pair of albums that sold moderately well. And after taking a break from music, she released a new EP, which with frequent collaborator Pete Yorn in 2018. Okay. She even performed at Coachella once.
Crazy.
So,
Speaking of Scarlett Johansson, her opposite co-star in The Avengers, Jeremy Renner, also has a music career.
Yep.
And he's been doing it for a while now, and he just released an album, I believe it was 2019 or 2020, released an album, and I actually heard the single off of it, and I was pleasantly surprised. I was like, holy shit, Hawkeye's got some fucking pipes. Yeah, he's actually a good guitar player as well.
Yeah.
I mean, another person I had on the list was Reese Witherspoon.
What did she do?
Well, she was in Walk the Line.
Oh, shit, that's right, June Carter.
This is one of the people, I think, it's because we're doing a collab episode, so I can't remember when I said it, but she's one of the people that said she had to learn how to sing before taking on the role in that film.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing. As well in that movie.
That's an interesting thing. Yeah, it's also like Val Kilmer, the Doors movie.
Yeah.
When he got that role, it was an interesting fact to know when he submitted his proposal to Oliver Stone to say, why he wants the role, big fan, whatever. He sent a audio tape of him performing songs by the Doors, and he told Oliver Stone, hey, there's so many songs in here, whatever. Pick which ones you think are me, which ones you thought were Jim. Oliver Stone went and listened to it, gave him a list of which songs he thought were Val Kilmer and which ones he thought were Jim Morrison. The whole album was Val Kilmer.
That's insane.
So he was listening to songs thinking like, oh, this is Jim Morrison. Okay, this one's Val Kilmer. But the whole album was Val Kilmer. So, and you listen to him in that movie, is dramatic that they made it and over-embellished how crazy Jim was. And
well, that was based off of No One Gets Out Alive, right?
Subtly, because the book itself really gives you a true detail of Jim was not as fucking nuts as they make him seem. Yes, he had his tendencies, but he also has his real, personal, ideologies and respected moments. But the music, that's Val Kilmer. That's and crazy. I'm listening to these songs, and it's great because you can tell when an artist kind of has the overdub trying to make them be the artist in terms of their vocal ability. But the music in that is great. And when you bring up Joaquin Phoenix, Walk the Line, I mean, that's...
You've seen Walk the Line, right?
No, I haven't seen that.
That's another one you got to watch.
I got to watch that, yeah.
Walk the Line's incredible.
Phenomenal. It's a top 5 biopic for me just because of the way it is, the way it's done, and Joaquin is just... He pulls off Johnny Cash really well.
Right.
Yeah.
He Joaquins it.
Another one I have on the list here is Ewan McGregor.
Yeah, that one was a shocking one.
Obi-Wan Kenobi. I mean, he had a role in Moulin Rouge, where he actually earned a Golden Globe nomination.
I believe.
But he sings pretty well too.
Christina Aguilera was in Moulin Rouge too.
I believe so.
Yeah, she had the song.
Yeah.
Didn't she have that? What was the song?
Lady Marmalade.
Yeah.
She was in Burlesque as well.
Yes.
With Cher.
Yes.
I mean, I don't know how many more of these you want me to read down the list.
This is all the obscure ones because, when I saw Bruce Willis's name pop up on one of those lists, I'm like, I'm trying to picture Bruce Willis in the studio. Just
6 degrees of separation to Bruce Willis.
All right, here we go. Let's take that break for a second. Go ahead, Bill.
Michael, my father-in-law, is yet to be on a Basement Box Office episode.
He has not.
He has expressed interest.
He's more than welcome to.
He's expressed interest, and we're going to have him on eventually. But he's been a major... I don't want to say major, but he's been a reoccurring third guy. Yeah, the reoccurring third guy.
Yes.
On Rage Against the Mainstream.
Yeah, I see it on there. It says third guy on the recording.
He's the fourth average dude when there's an opportunity.
Yeah, there you go.
So, Michael, as we all know, if you're listening to Rage Against the Mainstream, that he was in a mid-level professional band in the 80s called Witness. They were playing all around, the tri-state, quad-state area. They had I don't want to say a residency, but they had a bar in Pennsville, New Jersey that they would play at very frequently. Maybe, I don't know.
Okay.
But anyways, they would play at this venue all the time, and one of the fans of this band was Bruce Willis.
Oh, shit.
Bruce Michael and Bruce Willis were on a first-name basis. And this is before Bruce Willis went out to California to audition for Moonlighting, the show he did right before Die Hard.
Right.
Yeah, Michael and Bruce Willis were on a first-name basis.
So, wow. You should call him sometime.
Hey, Bruce.
Yeah, you got to get him on here.
Bruce, what'd you think of the set?
Yeah,
I would like to hear, because Michael brings really good old-school vibes to our show. So I would love for him to be on
rapping with him last night, dude.
You gotta have him.
He's like a book, dude. He's a fucking encyclopedia. It's crazy. But going back to what actually the topic.
Yeah. People who sing. Yeah.
Another one that people aren't really aware of, and Hugh Laurie. The only reason I bring him up is obviously because I've been watching House and I finished it. Throughout the series, you see him playing guitar. There's a whole musical section in one of the episodes. And you see him playing guitar, you see him playing piano, you see that, in the show at least, he's an accomplished musician. What you don't know is that while House was happening, he released 2 solo albums to where he kind of did like the whole like lounge singer type thing. Yeah. Almost like a crooner type deal like Seth MacFarlane, but it's Hugh Laurie. And
it's an interesting one.
Yeah, as you start watching the show and whatnot, you see him he's got a vintage Les Paul, then he's got a vintage Flying V, and he's got this fucking grand piano. Then there's episodes to where he's singing, but the singing episodes is where he's singing in his British voice, because those of you that don't know, Hugh Laurie is not an American. Right. He is from the United Kingdom, and it's just one of those things. And when I found out that he had an actual music career, I had to go and listen to it 100%. I mean, granted, it's not really my cup of tea, not my bag, but for what it is, he is extremely, extremely talented. And he's another one of those juggernauts, dude. Forever, I used to think of him as just Stuart Little's adoptive dad, and I only thought of him as Dr. House. Yeah. And now he's Hugh Laurie, fucking singing sensation.
Right.
Lounge singer. Another one I have on my list that I definitely wanted to bring up because I'm a fan of both the music and the acting style / movies is Jack Black and Kyle Gass from Tenacious D.
Well, the interesting is the first self-title is an actual album.
Yeah.
The Tenacious D album, and it's great. And then they did the soundtrack to the Pick of Destiny, and that's good too.
Dude, Pick of Destiny, if you've never seen the Pick of Destiny, have you?
No.
That's another one you gotta watch. It's so fucking funny. Ben Stiller, there's so many cameos in that movie too, I forgot about.
Oh yeah, dude.
Ben Stiller's in there. He's like a Guitar Center employee.
Yeah, he's the one who tells him about the pick. Yeah. He shows him the Van Halen on the album cover, and gives the history of all the guys.
Young was playing a show in New Jersey, and he flicked
I love when he goes into the closet and it's dark, and Ben Stiller uses his lighter, and Kyle Gass like, why don't we just turn the light on? Because he was trying to provide this whole vibe with the lighter underneath his chin, like are you afraid of the dark moment? And Kyle Gass, we just turn on a light here, dude. It's good.
So, does anyone have anything else?
I don't.
Any other ones that want to get added?
I mean, in recent notoriety, especially when we talk about artists, guys like Eminem and 50 Cent, when they did that hip hop transition to be in biopics. You get to really see the acting talents, because Eminem in 8 Mile made a great movie.
Oh, yeah.
And then you use him in cameo moments. There's a specific movie with, what the fuck? Oh, Adam Sandler and Seth Rogen, Funny People. There's a moment where, because they're using real life people. Adam Sandler's this comedian. Seth Rogen's basically his assistant. And Adam Sandler's got, he's sick and all this shit's happening. But there's a scene where Eminem plays a cameo in it. And he's talking to Adam Sandler about I hate all this fucking fame and blah, blah, blah. He's people are always looking at me. And he looks over and it's Ray Romano. And he takes a picture of Eminem. Yeah. And he was like that fucking guy taking pictures of me. And Adam Sandler's like, that's Ray Romano. He's like, Ray who? He's like, I'll just take a fucking you gotta see the clip.
Me, Ray?
Yeah, you've seen it, right? Okay, so Eminem is one of those guys where you get the sincerity and what he did in 8 Mile, and then you can get that goofy, you get the Marshall Mathers Eminem context, and he can display that in movie.
I wish he'd be in more films, honestly.
That's what I'm saying. Certain guys, they branched out for a biopic, almost in a sense, because Eminem, 8 Mile is not directly saying this is Marshall Mathers' life, but it's basically the context. Same thing with Get Rich or Die Trying with, Curtis Jackson. But, again, you get to see the ability, and I think that's a very important thing to understand, that music and film are very hard types of, industries to break into, and you never really realize what some of these people went through to get to where they're at, to be able to be that well respected. I mean, once you hit a certain portion, then corporations are just taking it with them.
Oh, yeah.
But to get to that point is, you got to have some talent.
Exactly.
At least.
So I guess to kind of put a pin in this thing and kind of end it here, there's not really a definitive who's the best, because obviously it would be Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. But
Right, yeah. Jumanji. I mean, come on.
yeah.
I mean, we can go on forever.
This was definitely an interesting topic, and having both podcasts come together and actually having all parties, having their points of expertise in talking.
Yes.
It makes for a very good sequel.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think it does, and I think next time you guys have any questions about Cannibal Corpse, you can definitely ask me. I feel like I've learned a lot today.
Stay tuned for Cannibal Corner.
Cannibal Corner, yeah. And what was the one thing? God damn it, you said something earlier. I was like, we got to start branching that off because you keep
music
doing
videos.
that. No, not the music videos. You said so, like how we talked about like having like Cannibal Corner would be like a small like little segment. You know, we have like in the archives, and, birthdays. There was something you did or said, and it seems like we do it all the time. I was like, we're gonna have like a little segment. We're gonna call it this, and I forget what the fuck it was. We're just going to move on. Forget I said anything. You can leave it in the episode. You don't have to delete it, but just keep moving.
Since this is a hybrid episode here, we're going to do a collaborative effort, and we're going to do a group movie suggestion for Rage Against the Mainstream and Basement Box Office, which is Get Rich or Die Trying, 2005 movie directed by Jim Sheridan. And if you're unaware of what this movie is, get your head out of your ass and go check it out. This is the kind of like one of the first like really good biopics, really.
8 Mile.
Yeah, but this is like immediately after that.
Yeah,
so
this is.
like
I'm not gonna lie.
Like this is like pre All Eyes on Me and Notorious and Straight Outta Compton.
Yeah, it branched off because of the affiliation. It's good. But to me, it's more like the mountain shouting to 8 Mile. I still enjoy it. I'll
Where
watch it.
would you put it as in comparison to Notorious or
right below it?
Right below Notorious?
Right below it.
What about All Eyes on Me?
Running easily with it.
that.
Yeah, because Get Rich or Die Trying, I watched that at an age where I really enjoyed it because I already loved the album. I was a huge 50 Cent fan. But again, to me, it goes too far to be a drama. Like with the whole connection between, I forget the dude's name that he find out killed his mom and the Kingpin guy. It becomes too much of like almost an action drama as opposed to like what 8 Mile was.
Yeah.
You know? Like that whole scene at the end where he breaks into the record studio before he goes and performs and he gets killed by his own sword, basically. Like come on, dude.
That didn't happen in real life.
Yeah. The shooting scene, though, was cool. Like, you got the vibe of like his story and stuff. But I think 8 Mile ran true where Get Rich or Die Trying is a good watch, but it's more of a movie than, So, for my personal suggestion for this week, I am suggesting to check out the new David Lee Roth single, Somewhere Over the Rainbow Bar and Grill. This came out, a week after Eddie Van Halen died, and it's just, it's a cool song. It features John 5 on guitar. It's not like a big rock production. It's a pretty decent song, and if you're a fan of anything, if you're a fan of John 5 or David Lee Roth or Van Halen, this is going to be something to definitely check out. As far as my personal movie suggestion for this week, I am suggesting, I'm going to have to suggest the 1983 film that Will had mentioned earlier, Trading Places. I feel like that is literally such a good movie to where you have to watch it, and I can't stress it enough. It's one of those, it's like me and Will always talk about it, and I believe me and Steve talk about it as well. There was like a golden era for Saturday Night Live and, all those films like Caddyshack, The Blues Brothers, Trading Places, Coming to America. There was just a golden age for these really, really all
good
the Happy Madison
movies.
Productions. And,
exactly.
Billy Madison, Happy Gilmore.
Ghostbusters, all that other shit.
Yes.
Like, there was a golden age for it. And I feel like those movies, they were funny, but it was like an underlying funny thing to where you had to think about it. And it wasn't just in your face.
And it's just the immediate one-liners. The last most recent movie is like Anchorman, where you can just use quotes from that comedy to be able to just day-to-day routine. All those movies that came, like Black Sheep, obviously with all the Adam Sandler films we just mentioned. I mean, all that comedy during that era of Saturday Night Live and the movies that were produced are just so memorable.
You got, you name it. Any of those films, any of the Animal House, fucking Caddyshack, both Caddyshacks.
Both of them.
Just anything. Like, there was just a golden age for it. And if you're like Will and it takes you fucking 40 years to watch Trading Places, take this as your ultimate recommendation. You need to brush up on some shit, and you need to watch Trading Places.
You need to get Coming in America in there, too.
Yeah, we'll get that in there. So, do you want to go first?
No, you go.
So, my suggestions... Thank you, Bill. Are you good? So my suggestions for this week for film would be the 2019 film Dr. Sleep. We talked about earlier in the episode, we mentioned The Shining. We talked about Ewan McGregor being, how good his singing career is. And I figured, why not best pick Dr. Sleep? Because it's kind of like a mix of both.
Yeah, I actually have not seen that movie, but I read the book. And when I found out Ewan McGregor was playing, I forget Torrance. What the hell's his first name? Danny.
Little Danny Torrance.
Yeah. When I found that out, I was very interested. And I haven't seen it yet. I was going to watch it with my parents, but we found out it was like 2 hours long. Yeah. And it was like 10 o'clock, and I don't want to watch movies through the snores of my parents.
Yeah,
so I opted out.
That.
Yeah, so I would love to see that movie. Actually,
it was good. I recommend it.
Okay,
obviously I'm recommending it right now. So
that's what I'm saying. So it's good that you brought. It's good that you brought that up because when I opted out. When I opted out of that movie, I still never went back to watch it because a couple days had passed and I'd forgotten.
Yeah.
For my album, I chose The Greatest Showman for the album, and the song I chose off there would be The Greatest Show.
Nice.
It takes place in the beginning of the film, and it's also at the end. It just has like different
Hugh Jackman's
interpretations.
the singer on that, right?
Hugh Jackman, yeah. But like in the beginning, he's the singer of it because it's like there's like two separate. It's like the same song, but they sing it twice.
Yeah.
Like in the beginning, it's just like I guess 3/4 of the song, and then the film starts, and then at the end, it's like the full song. And this is where I don't know if you've seen the film, but Zac Efron takes over for Hugh Jackman.
Yeah.
And he does so in the song as well. So it's like there's two different adaptations of that song, but Greatest Show.
Nice.
So I kind of went off the path. I'm going to recommend a movie that's not so much familiar with the topic, but the movie I'm recommending is the 1964 release by Stanley Kubrick. Stanley Kubrick, who did The Shining as well as, various other films, 2001: A Space Odyssey, Clockwork Orange, which is my all-time favorite. The movie is Dr. Strangelove. Dr. Strangelove, basically a satire during the era of the Cold War. Phenomenal movie. Highly recommend it. Extremely funny, especially for those fans of like Monty Python and those like goofy, very good Kubrick film. The album I'm recommending kind of ties in part. It's a soundtrack, and I don't know why I didn't fucking bring this up when we did a soundtrack episode, but the Superfly soundtrack by Curtis Mayfield.
Oh shit!
Jesus Christ! Like I saw a video pop up of him doing Pusherman live at the Soul Train, and it reminded me of that album, so I went back and listened, and I was like, dude, I don't think I brought this up on the soundtrack edition, and I'm really fucking upset about it. The album I'm recommending is the 1972 released soundtrack titled Superfly, for said movie Superfly by Curtis Mayfield. Saw a video of him on Soul Train that popped up from, some page I follow with him performing Pusherman, and it just reminded me how great of a song it is. I actually put it in our 30 days the music thing we did where we had, songs and albums we related to context, and I think it was like day 25 or something.
Yeah, something around
there. Yeah, and I never recommended it personally.
Things like that.
It is very weird. My brain I couldn't tell you where the fucking remote is, but I can remember day 25 of our daily music inventory. But yeah, Superfly by Curtis Mayfield. Phenomenal album. I'm going to recommend Pushman since I did that and never actually got the song put onto our page, so I'm hoping to revitalize that 1960s aesthetic of just walking the streets of New York and your fucking bell bottoms. Just such a cool time. That funk, the attire back then, just so much more class and pride. It just, a gold chain, just, like the rope chain. It's just such a cool fucking time, man.
It's just like the whole aesthetic of it, the whole like everything. It's almost like when we talk about like nostalgia.
I'm a suburban white kid, but when I listen to that, bro, like I'm fucking in Harlem at that moment in time. I just feel it. Like Curtis Mayfield just provided a level of feel from his music that's just undeniable.
So funny.
So good.
Well, on this note, this ends the hybrid episode of Basement Box Office of Rage Against the Mainstream podcasts. You can find our collected podcasts on Facebook, facebook.com/RATM podcast, facebook.com/BBO podcast. You can find us on Instagram and Twitter at RATM podcast and at BBO podcast. And of course, our respective emails, ratmpodcast@gmail.com and basementboxofficepodcast@gmail.com. But until then, this is Rage Against the Box Office signing off for the evening. I'm Bill.
I'm Steve.
And I'm Will. Now remember, popcorn's always better with butter.
Have a good night, guys. Thanks for listening.